Hello and welcome back, everybody, for our halftime show, abbreviated as we are a little over time, but we'll get through this one. Game 1, CLG versus 100 Thieves Academy. 100 Thieves roaring out the gate and having a very strong performance from Tenacity in particular. Cubby, you were saying it towards the end of that game. This is somebody that we do expect has what it takes to be a top laner in LCS already, and it's performances like this that remind us why that's our opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to keep on driving home my point about Acad top laners being good in LCS because, I mean, Soul said it. We've seen what Soul and Philip have done on the LCS stage. And of all the top laners that have been promoted, props to Soul and Philip for playing well on the stage. But the best top laner we've seen in the Academy this split, no contest, unanimously, it's Tenacity. And he keeps on putting up performances like this. Guys, 380 CS at the 33-minute mark in a Flame Horizon. Out of control in fights as well, managing space, playing sides so well. He is just head and shoulders above the competition. And I love seeing him really know that, but also play to it, because that game he was just fantastic on the Olaf.
The play mid lane where the Ash Arrow, we'll get a chance to look at the replay package, so hopefully this is actually in there, but Ash Arrow lands onto Meech, Tenacity goes 1v3, and then is able to just keep Meech out of the fight while the rest of the 100 Thieves clean up what CLG was trying to do, and it's not because Tenacity had a free lane. It's Rava, like they kind of camped him a little bit in the early game.
Every character growth arc starts with struggles in the beginning, Kingus, and then you overcome it.
Then you press Ghost on Aphelios.
Yeah, don't worry. This is still the struggle zone for Tenacity because he almost gets Meech.
It was
a good flash.
Yeah,
good flash.
Dude, Meech just doesn't lose 50-50s, man. It's actually filthy, like how good this guy's reaction speed is.
This one, though.
Yeah, this was the big one, because Busio hits a 5-man ult, and Tenacity, again, totally splits CLG. Look at Jenkins trying to peel Tenacity. I think Jenkins needs to be in the front line here. You really can't do anything against Tenacity except buy space. And then 5-man hostile takeover in the back half just guarantees that 100 Thieves get the first 2 members for free. They clean up more later. 100 Thieves being so clean in this game. It's, again, this is the youngest team we've ever seen in the Academy. The fact we're getting looks like this out of them, it's so scary.
And the most impressive thing is that Meech still had opportunities to carry. When we look at how Meech was playing out this fight, I think Meech did pretty well considering how much aggression 100 Thieves was thrown his way. So, Rafa, when we look at a game number 2 and look towards that, as knowing Meech as a player, are we concerned at all? Is this something where it's like he's a young player, we should be worried that he might be a little tilted?
I mean, I'm less worried about Meech being tilted and more worried about, okay, what can CLG do to actually pivot and play around their backline, because Meech was the best performer in this past game, and like Meech is doing everything, like literally everything he can in a giant cluster bomb of just absolute chaos from 100 Thieves Academy. And the fact that Meech almost equalizes it, takes out Will in this back half, like if it wasn't for the flash from Jimian, like Meech can potentially just wipe this fight. And so it was a clever counterpick from 100 Thieves, where CLG had already all-in on a bunch of crowd control lockdown as their main identity of engagement. And then Tenacity says, haha, that's nice. I got a Ragnarok. What are you going to do now? And like, not even Monsoon can help peel away a Viking like that.
And we hadn't even talked about the Janna yet. Cubby, I want to get your thoughts. Going into it, it was kind of surprising in Pick and Ban seeing that. What was your thoughts on that overall throughout the game? Is this something that CLG Academy can still look at going into a game 2?
I do like Janna. I think that, like, in games where Janna is good, she can break draft and bend that in favor. I also like it into Renata. I think that game, though, the requirements that I want for Janna is having strong engage elsewhere, which CLG did, but also I think that you need a jungler that's a little bit stronger early. It's really hard to get on the map with a combo like Diana plus Janna. And then Olaf, you can't do anything as Janna into Olaf. So I think that pick really broke it. I don't like it into Ashe either, because you can engage at just 1,000 range and kind of neutralize what Janna wants to do. So yeah, I do like the pick. I think that it was a good idea. I like the theory in the bot lane itself, but I think that in the overall fights, it didn't play as well as it could. But I appreciate some of their creativity from Breezy there. But I think it's going to be back on engage here.
Put your bets, Twitch chat. Will Olaf get banned in this next game after Tenacity's performance on that one? With that said, Pick a Man is ready, so I'm going to pass it back over to Rafa and Cubby for game 2.
Scruffling through my hair, trying to figure out whether that bet will come fruition. Well, I'm just trying to make sure it's not in my eyes for the most part, but also because I am too curious about whether Ragnarok will warrant a ban from CLG Academy, because it seems like that was strictly for the counter matchup into Sejuani, but you know, I think there's other things to fear from Tenacity, Aurelia and Silas being two of them.
That tells me that CLG wants the first 3 Gnar. Those are matchups that Tenacity will happily play into the Gnar. We haven't even seen Tenacity's Aurelia yet this year, guys. Yeah, that's maybe the best Aurelia on the server that we have in the hands of Tenacity in the top lane. As 100 Thieves debating what they want to take away here last, as it will be an Ezreal taken away from Meech. And a lot of the marksmen left up here on the side of both CLG and 100 Thieves.
Cubby.
As thank you. I mean, Silas plus Aurelia ban, it doesn't take a rocket scientist for that one. And Jenkins is Gnar. It's been fantastic.
Twitch chat, did you know that Cubby used to be a coach, by the way?
Not at this level, but, you know, we tried our best.
You used to also be the #1 Braum on the NA server, by the way.
Wow. You're going to make me all red here, Rafa.
Cubby also, what's the golf term? Can hit a bunch of hole-in-ones. On par for most of his stroke game as well in the golf course.
Dude, I've never shot even on a round of 18. I was even on 17, and I choked the last round I played. Got to get out more. But returning to the pick band here, Rafa. Yeah, we've got Seraphine being locked in, which is a flex for the side of 100 Thieves. And I think important to note, Seraphine is a counter pick into Azir if they want to put it mid for in the hands of Jimian, as we'll see how CLG rounds out the first 3. I expect them to take a jungler here. Would not be surprised to see a Viego.
I'm waiting. Viego. Lock it in. Do it. Boom.
Potentially.
2, 1.
Oh. AP champ for the side of Cavi.
And we know it's not going to be a flex towards the top side because Gnar has already been locked in. So,
busted out.
Yeah. Lilia for Kevi. This does give him a little bit of a farming speed advantage because once Lilia gets a couple points into her Blithering Blooms, she just starts ramping up and clears the jungle like crazy.
If it's Yasuo, I think it might be top Yasuo for Tenacity.
Oh my god.
It's a historical counter in the Gnar. It would not be the first Yasuo, but the first one Tenacity blinded top lane, which honestly was, I would argue, is a for fun pick if you're going to blind Yas top. It got punished. They still won the game. But Yasuo in the Gnar, that is a legit counter matchup that is very, very difficult to play for the Gnar. So I think that we could see this Yasuo going top for Tenacity. Now, we did say early on the pick ban, most of the bot laners were up for the side of both teams. None have been locked in yet. Seraphine is flexible for the side of 100 Thieves. We'll see where they slot that in. But judging by the bans, I have a feeling that this Seraphine is going to be mid for Jimian. And we're going to have to see how 100 Thieves round out their comp, as it could easily be Busio with counterpick again.
Anytime you have a Seraphine in your composition with a couple of melees, you are very favored to take like the long extended fights. 100 Thieves, you called it out. Let's see if the Zeri is they want to slide in for BMFX. CLG, one more ban left on the table. They've already taken away Busio's Renata, which had a fantastic 5-man hostile takeover in the mid game. This would force Busio onto something new. No Senna either, so no potential for the Senna Yasuo flex.
Okay, I do like that ban, because I think what's going to happen is that 100 Thieves, they can take Zeri, and they can handshake the Aphelios for Meech, which is not bad. And I like the Akali ban because Jimian's Akali is unbelievable. But also it's very good into both Gnar and Azir in the side lanes. So I actually do really like that pick, or that ban for the side of CLG. I talked about giving Busio counter. That's not counter pick for Busio, but that is his Alistar. He's only played it once in Academy, but if you watch this guy play Alistar in Champs Queue, he is really, really good on this champion. Meech Breezy have counter. Honestly, I would love to see Aphelios and Braum. I think Braum and Alistar is a really good matchup. It would be a way that you could shut down 100 Thieves trying to jump into you. That said, we did tease that Zeri is still up and available. Could easily see Zeri plus Lulu if Breezy wants to play that Enchantress again. Help buff up Zeri in these fights.
And it would be one way to actually empower Meech despite something like a Wukong Yasuo trying to dive you past the front line as well. You get the wild growth and the extra shields to buff you up.
Or Rakan.
Rakan's also good. Quickness, you charm up the engaging threats, you stall some time for Meech to realign himself in the battle lines. And whoa!
Here it comes!
Sivir! This is our first Sivir game of the new patch, Cubby. Talk to us about the Sivir.
Well, I'm going to cheat here on my second monitor, as a lot of changes were made to Sivir.
Okay.
They changed like everything, man. Come on. So I think the biggest difference is the fact that Ricochet, it can now bounce between opponents, and it can hit opponents multiple times if it bounces between champions. So the priority on it's a little bit awkward. That and the spell shield gives you health instead of mana. And they adjusted the mana numbers so that Sivir has more access to mana. We're seeing Crit Sivir return. But this comp is really fun from 100 Thieves because it is all about going fast. You have Sivir on the hunt. You have Seraphine, Empowered W, into knockups for Yasuo, into Sivir free hitting above. I really like this patch 12-13 draft for 100 Thieves, whereas on the flip side, it's very standard for CLG. I think it's Jenkins, most played champion, Triple's most played champion, and then Breezy's most successful champion. He's 3-1 in the Rakan. I did say I wanted to see Breezy back on Engage. He has been the main Engage for this team. He's been really good at it. So we're going to have to see if Breezy can step up and really help CLG even up the score. And again, prove that they can compete with the top 3 teams that we have in Academy. Good opportunity for them to do that here against 100 Thieves. We're able to do that in Game 1, can even the score in Game 2.
Well, let's see if they can turn things around. If they can equalize the score and go 1-1, or if this is going to be a clean sweep for 100 Thieves Academy. Time to load up on the Rift for Juego Número 2.
And we do get our first adjusted Sivir look. Again, we are the first Riot Sanctioned tournament, I believe, playing on 12-13. It is always fun to see some of the reads that these players have on the newest patch of the game. Rafa, as speaking of reads, Busio, he's looking for an early flash here. Help out Tenacity in the top side here against Jenkins.
And that would be so brutal for the Gnar matchup, because outside of the hop, there's no way for a Gnar to disengage from Yasuo just being able to dash through the minion wave on you.
He's not going to Q flash for the boys as Breezy. That's going to be a grand exit for Breezy. She gets out of the jungle. See if he drops a trinket or not. Going to be on the Gromp. It's one of the adjustments that we're seeing a lot of these teams make. So oftentimes, junglers, if you trinket and then you base, you can get a sweeper and sweep out. If you throw that ward on the Gromp instead of on the wall that covers blue plus Gromp, you can sometimes sneak it around the sweeper and still get info early. We saw that in one of our games earlier today for EGA versus IMT. But of course, these guys looking for any advantage they can get any early stage of the game. That's one of the adjustments that we've been seeing.
Yeah, makes sense too, because most of the time, if you see a jungler come to their Gromp, even if you didn't see them on the buff, you can just make the educated informational knowledge that, yeah, okay, they started on this buff. So you don't always need to know where they started, as long as you're tracking them halfway through the clear. As that ward sees Will doing up his Gromp, most likely going to full clear this bottom side jungle before making his way towards the top side of the map. And, you know, when we're looking at the lanes that you want to play to, Sivir, you can just wave clear. Seraphine, you can just wave clear. Tenacity, Yasuo, this is the lane that you need to leverage and get off the ground.
And part of what makes the matchup so brutal for Gnar is that when you're mini, of course, you lack stats. Yasuo can always get on you when you are mini. And also that wind wall, not only does it cancel the boomerang or the boulder, but it also takes the projectile off the map, so you can't pick it up and get that reduced cooldown. One of the reasons that, you know, this matchup really is brutal for the Gnar. Also, if our observers get him to minimize and then bump up the scoreboard again so we can get the updates, that'd be great. See how our players are farming in the early game. Thank you so much. We're wonderful staff here at EE. As Kevy, curiously enough, just walks in, takes the Raptors.
Yeah, that is one of the... Yeah, I mean, you can do that on Lilia. And he's even...
Will's going to get the bad news.
Yep. Leaving behind one chicken nugget as well. You already see the question mark pings coming out from Will. It's like, yo, this Bambi guy just walked into my jungle, bro. we let him do that, and the rest of 100 Thieves Academy is like, listen, I'm playing Seraphine, man. I can push. I can't really stop him. Tenacity is all the way in the top
try and get
island.
revenge.
Does not have the smite to seal away. Oh, but this actually forces Kevy because he doesn't have smite,
Yeah.
and he doesn't know whether Will has it or not. And Will, instead of trying to play the tango with the blue buff, already just using the tempo and pressure advantage to take out the crab and then just walk towards his Krugs.
Yeah, nice recovery, honestly, as he's going to be ahead in the clear, even if Kevy did steal a camp away from him. So as long as he gets that respawn Raptors, it's not all too bad.
Kevy and Will still staying on the top side of the map as long as possible. They know how volatile this Gnar Yasuo matchup can be. The wave is pushing into Tenacity, but Jenkins is about to go Mega, so there's a window where he's a little bit more difficult to take down, and it doesn't seem like Will is going to bite.
Early game being quiet here for the side of 100 Thieves against Sivir. I already went into her changes a bit with the W. It can bounce between champions. Also, one of the big changes they made was the move speed. So you get more move speed, but it decays now. But there are also more things that can proc the move speed, as of course every Sivir ability does proc it, and it can be extended during On the Hunt. So if you assist, the aura refreshes the duration. If you get any sort of kill or assist, that's a big deal for Sivir, as it's all about the Deathball comps with Sivir. And 100 Thieves certainly have built themselves a Deathball comp this game.
Honestly, the old changes sound a lot like, I think it's Master Yi's Ultimate Highlander, where...
Let's not talk about Master Yi. I do not want to get into the changes made to that abomination of a champion. The fact you can pick where your Q exits now takes away, like, all counterplay, and I really hate it. Because you used to be able to do some creative things with how you could play around that, as Breezy will get the spell shield to be in effect. So you can see he gets a little bit of health back. That is, of course, the change mentioned earlier from the Sivir. And that's Tenacity. Going to take a left tap from the tower for his dash up there. But you can see how he gets rid of the boomerang. So talking about some of the interactions we're seeing early with some of the unique picks we have on the Rift this game.
You know, in terms of unique picks, which jungler in the league, while we have some downtime, would actually be the first one to pick Master Yi in Academy?
Well, if we... shout out to Munchie. From third party in the amateur scene. Actually, a Master Yi one trick has played it quite a bit in Shamsq, pre-rework as well.
Oh, huge.
But I don't know. I'm just gonna guess Shaden, just
really
for the memes and the fact that, you know, he likes to play for himself at times. Just a hunch. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I hope no one picks Master Yi again. That champion is just an abomination.
Off the top of my head, like, if it has to be someone that respects that Master Yi wants to power farm and just plays around certain windows where Master Yi can be strong rather than just trying to brute force his way through the early game, I'll say XU.
Okay.
At least, like, recently. Like, just tell XU, like, hey, this champion is like Bel'Veth, so don't do anything stupid early. And then just, like, play around with her.
Okay, Jenkins is about to proc Mega. Kevy has snuck up here to play around Jenkins. Tenacity knows. It has been spotted on a ward, as Will is spotted on a ward as well. So both top laners here playing with information. Dude, we get interesting.
This is like the game of, like, Battleship where, like, both of you manage to screen peek the other person's screen, and it's just like, oh yeah, they have no idea what I'm about to do. And the other person's going, haha, they don't know what I'm going to do. And then it's just a stalemate.
Map hacks were on for both sides there.
Correct.
As
no screen peeking, Cubby.
Yeah, we
Did you ever screen peek?
Of course not. That's garbage.
Good man, a Boy Scout you are.
Yeah, we used to we had a setup. We used to, like, have a piece of cardboard we put in the middle of, like, split screens when we were playing Modern Warfare 2, like 1v1s and 2v2s.
Nice.
That was the classic.
Lucio almost engaging into Modern Warfare right there, but Breezy has, you know, Battle Dance to get out of the way. You like that? Oh.
I always, yeah. Well done, Rafa. Appreciate you. You pandering to me is always a favorite of mine.
Hell yeah. For Twitch chat and the rest of the audience watching at home or the VOD, this is a very slow early game from both teams, so me and Cubby are passing the time with good vibes, and Currently, I have some coffee. I think you have some coffee in your window that I see
I finished
as well.
my coffee. It was outstanding.
Finished your coffee.
Yeah.
Oh! Well, Triple says, put down the drink. It's time to make plays happen. Jimian already forced to use the flashes. Kevy flashes in as well, but the lilting lullaby puts him to sleep. And that's first blood for CLG.
Big two, because Rift is up. Jimian has no flash, no TP now. Kevy going to take away the topside camps. The COG, really good play from Triple.
Triple has been stepping up his play this week. Oh,
hold on.
Says, that's my camp, and that's my Bambi as well. Kevy's got nowhere to run because he already used flash to gain traction onto Jimian. And, oh, man. Kevy, if he had a little bit more HP, maybe could have been able to run out, but that kill going over to Tenacity, huge implication for the top lane.
It's big, too, because it saves Will's topside, and it keeps Rift Herald alive. The hopes for Rift, 400 Thieves. So, really like the Tenacity. Utilize the priority that he had on the top side to come help his jungler as that play is neutralized. And we'll see who ends up making the play for Rift Herald. Speaking of plays, Breezy's up here.
Okay, well, Jenkins, can he lock down Tenacity? Tenacity would have to use his dashes strategically here. Breezy just has the quickness available, though. Can charm him up if he gets too far forward. There it is. Charm into knock up. Tenacity does not have flash tries to dash through, but is there enough damage there? Here comes Will, and 100 Thieves have salvaged Tenacity out of immediate danger. The encore from Jimian does not land the mark. He dies before it goes off, but Breezy's still in a world of trouble, and Triple and Kevy have got to be careful about the cooldowns now. Tenacity has last breath available once again. Will doesn't have Cyclone, but if Lucio can get in range, there's a knock-up available for Tenacity.
I gotta say, that could have been way worse for COG too, because the encore from Jimian, he saved it in the initial engage, and then burned it as he died. So the full channel didn't even go off, wasn't able to connect. And if the encore is big, I think that 100 Thieves could have made this way worse, as while all that's going on, CLG, when we come out of replay, likely will have the Rift Herald, but BMFX has so much free time with the bot lane turret. Going back through this one, Tenacity just buying space, buying time to make sure he has that third Q. We can get the knock-up, and then it's just about getting back to the minion wave. The wind wall is big, as it was actually late, but he got behind the minions to dodge that, and that just bought enough time for Bucio Will to come save that all-star top laner, as they end up getting a 2-for-1, and a lot of resources into BMFX as well, as he was the only person on the map that did not rotate to this play.
And now Meech might have to pay the dividends for it. Heal's already burned. Meech still keeping his distance. He just wants to get movement speed. He flashes forward right onto BMFX instead. BMFX forced to use both of his summoner spells to get out alive. Will is coming for the collapse. Breezy is here as well. No quickness available. Can he get in range for Battle Dance? It's not enough. Breezy knows that it would just be a death sentence for both him and his AD, so he decides to keep himself alive.
Really nice bait from Bucio as Meech goes down. It will be Rift Herald for CLG, but again, 100 Thieves getting gold experience levels onto BMFX, I think, is more valuable than the Rift Herald. If you're able to stack up your big late game marksman insurance, that is really important for the side of 100 Thieves and this Deathball composition. And while all this is going on, Will's Wukong again. It was 8-0 coming into the day. It is 9-0 now. He's been involved in every kill, has 3 of them in his own pockets, and we're at the point of the game where Wukong is still filthy gross. Like, they slowed down his clear speed, but when he gets Divine Thunder, you in the fights, in the skirmishes, way too strong still on the map. We're going to have to see if Will can make the most of it. It's now Bucio.
Knock up, delayed into the last breath. Jenkins still can go mega here, and scoops Tenacity right back. Thanks to the Lilting Lullaby, keeps him drowsy, and Kevy and Jenkins answer back.
Good play from Kevy. They got to play around Will. Any fight that COG takes, if Will's there, it could be big trouble for them, as Will is now going to look to rotate up. Maybe they can catch Jenkins if he looks for any plates. That's going to be the sign. Bucio's Hex Flash.
No flash available from Jenkins either. Bucio can get in range. Will has Cyclone if they need it. Goes into the decoy, gets a little bit of range. Nimbus Strike not available. Cyclone is there. Bucio follows up with a knockup, and it's a knockdown. God. Dude, the empowered bonk plus Divine Thunder. That is filthy.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. It's really why Wukong has been the highest presence champion in the world so far this summer across our major 4 regions, as his Wukong is really shown that it's very, very good, and it's been a part of a What has been really an emerging second half of the split for Will. I know I spent a lot of the day talking about Tenacity, Busio, rightfully so. It's hard not to talk about these guys with, how talented they are, but Will, it feels like he's getting back into the swing of things. Playing in Academy, I think he's had better reads on the map in the second half of the season. He's quietly second in gold after 15 out of all junglers as Breezy somehow nabs that blue buff for himself. That auto attack, a little bit too powerful, I think, for the liking of CLG.
If Breezy could have said, dude, if you're better on the smites, this could have been yours. I was just helping you secure it.
That's true. I mean, as a Grandmaster support at one time, that is definitely a GM support move. You just that's not on me. You got to secure that. I would have said that back in the day.
But back to talking about Will. I think this is important to note because this is not Will's first Academy run through, but even saying that it's not his debut feels like an understatement because when Will came into Academy last year, he came in for Dignitas Academy halfway through the split. The first couple of weeks, it was rough. He was adjusting to it. Dignitas Academy weren't necessarily a top 6 team. They were kind of the middle of the pack. But then as they got out of the Academy Summer towards the end and then playing towards the rest of the Proving Ground circuit in Tier 1, man, oh man, Will just came alive and you saw why this guy was picked up in the first place. And I think he's finding a similar resurgence. He's getting back into the swing of things.
Him and Lore, though, were a really sick duo on the top side. They played very well together. And it's been nice seeing Will not just play towards Tenacity. I think it's been really varied depending on the game, whatever the strategy is for 100 Thieves. But it really is the same theme as Will. He's someone that was a solo queue superstar. We know has the mechanics. It's just about how he's able to play with the team, read the map is really where we're looking for him to grow. And that's been why I've been excited for his second half of the season because he's been doing that as now I can just dive this.
Oh, that was slick, Busio.
Q-flash the boys.
That's right. Freaking headbutt for the travel distance and then Q-flash. Oh, that... I feel like that was a moment where Busio had enough time to definitely just like walk up and do normal W flash or WQ, but that was a moment. It was like, hey, guys, I need this Q flash. I need this for my resume for LCS.
Yeah. Actually, so one of the fun parts about Busio's Alistar, as we're, it's been very good. It's 1-0 in Academy. It's been one of his better picks in Champs Queue. Keep in mind, one of the coaches for 100 Thieves and someone that has put time into coaching Busio is Mithy, one of the best Alistar players of all time. I think that highlight that he has against Splice when he was on G2 in Game 5, where he just keeps Sencucks like CC the entire time when it's Alistar and Orianna. If you know the play I'm talking about, you know how nasty it was. It was a game-changing play. His Alistar was always goated, and it looks like he's passed on some of that knowledge to Busio now.
See if Busio can continue living up to Spaniard's legacy on the Alistar. Now for the rest of CLG, this is a difficult game state to look at. They're in fact slightly ahead in gold, but they're losing out on tempo structure, and the playmaking tools that 100 Thieves have is getting to a point where it is a little frightening, because when you want to engage into things like Cyclone and Encore Seraphine, engaging into Seraphine just sounds pretty tough.
Yeah. Jimmy doesn't really matter how many resources he has, it just matters what his item break points are at. And if you have the Andres, you can still heal your team up a pretty absurd amount. As ignore that, Jenkins is still here, as might have been a pause that we were able to skip over thanks to our production staff.
Huge.
As Busio, thinking about it, cold feet.
I wonder if he was just trying to see if he could just get a flash or on the Breezy and didn't want to overcommit. It's more of a game of chicken. And
didn't have
Breezy.
vision past the mid-river. He could have been going into like 5. That's usually when the Alistar out of jail free card becomes pretty cool. But Busio, high key, does have a really good flank here if he wants it. As Triple spotted.
Hex flash,
He's spotted
Hex flash,
now.
Hex flash! Nicely called down Cubby, and they layer it up. Encore as well. Cyclone for the follow-up engage. Nimbus Strike follows them all the way into the back line.
Hold on,
Kevy
CLG
is still living through it, and they're
Meech
able to funnel through the choke point. Somehow that in monstrous engage from 100 Thieves Academy does not net them a single kill, and now it's all about the Meech show, Cubby, because he can just run down the rest of the remaining members of 100 Thieves.
The double stopwatch there from Kevy Triple was massive, as that keeps them alive in this game. It's a 3-for-0 for CLG, and now they have a big gold lead in their pockets, Rafa, as despite the flank, despite the engage, they weren't able to chain the CC well enough. The stopwatches come in, and CLG, they turn it around.
I want to look at the replay because there was 3-4 knockups that layered into that pocket. So I wonder if someone was zoning off BMFX or Jimmy after the encore for the damage to not go through onto those members.
I mean, this is a wonderful flank from Busio.
Yeah.
This should be a big fight for 100 Thieves. So let's take a second look at how it didn't line up, as he is spotted, but he's going to go.
Okay.
That's 2. Emperor's Divide keeps Will out. And then the Encore is just stopwatched as, wow, really well played from CLG. And then from here, credit to Breezy. He keeps BMFX over the wall. So BMFX can never really follow up on the damage. Kevy sneaks out, and all the kiting from CLG. Nothing was burned on Meech, and Meech runs ramp in the back half. Well played. Good recovery from CLG to absorb that huge engage from Busio.
Yeah, and I think it's just really stellar threat assessment from Breezy. Instead of trying to charm up the engagers and the threats that were already trying to dogpile onto Triple and Kevy, he stops BMFX, who still has all of his cooldowns available, still can pump out a bunch of burst damage with the ricochets, preventing him from being able to get into that choke point. And it's just, wow. Really good stuff from Breezy once again. And it goes back to why, especially when I came back from Singapore, you guys were talking to me about, like, dude, Breezy is, like, having the split of his life in this summer.
I think Breezy's been playing really well. Rakan's been a big champion for him, as it's the second most played, 3-1, and making big plays like that consistently is able to find the engages as Tenacity. Gonna return to this side lane. Again, 100 Thieves, they might be down in gold, but they still win whatever side lane Yasuo is in, especially if they play towards him.
Oh. Does he have someone near? I guess Nasty is almost there. Will can just fall over the wall. Cyclone. Nasty still not in range for the last breath follow-up, but he doesn't need it. There's enough damage from Will just to bonk Kevy back to the fountain. Breezy looking for a knockup.
Oh, cancel.
Good Steel Tempest from Tenacity. Here comes Jenkins. Scoops up Will. Gets a lot of damage down, but Will cannot brute force his way through Busio and BMFX to take out Will. Another knockup. There's the follow-up at the last breath. Breezy is forced to use the stopwatch here. Goes golden. Gets out alive. Jenkins has already picked off Busio. Can they chase him down?
Meech.
And Meech is ready for the Meech show. Good two-man encore, but it only prevents the backline, whereas Jenkins can still run house and run rampant on all of them. It's a triple kill for the CLG top laner.
And if it feels like 100 Thieves, they're making the plays to get picks, but nothing is on Meech. And the fights go too long, and Meech just runs rampant in the back half. If you don't control Zeri in these fights, Zeri will punish. And look at how far ahead Meech is of BMFX on the scoreboard. He is so fed this game, shredding through the side of 100 Thieves. And while they're looking for plays, trying to make it, it's not on the right members. They end up going too deep into the fight. They end up getting taken down, and CLG answer back again, as this time they take Baron.
And considering that CLG Academy had the opportunity to run back the Aphelios, they made the conscious decision to say, no, we want to take the Zeri this time around. It is incredible how a change of a character that gives you more access to mobility and better freedom and ability to reposition yourself and either kite back safely or pursue fights afterwards really does a number for CLG's team fighting ability.
And again, Busio, I mean, the fight on the Kevy is great, but now, like, Meech jumps out of that combo, really well played. Busio goes down, it's 45, Meech isn't touched. A wonderful W over the wall, too, as Jimmy sacks his life, and 100 Thieves, you know, this Deathball combo, it feels like they're more so playing for picks instead of the Deathball, and I think a part of that is that BMFX just doesn't have enough damage to really follow up. He's been zoned out of these fights, he's behind, and now, okay, that's how you do it.
All right, well,
that's it.
Cubby, you said they're not picking for Meech. 100 Thieves may have finally gotten the memo and said, okay, guys, we cannot let this Zeri go crazy once again. By picking off the main marksman, the rest of CLG are forced to scatter. Breezy burns down to the damage afterwards, and 100 Thieves Academy finally find a better pick for themselves.
Nice adjustment, and I mean, Bussio's Alistar, it really has been so good this game, Rafa, as it is dictating all the plays on the map here for the side of 100 Thieves. Can pop his ult if he needs to get out of here, as he is alone, but Phase Rush will help. That play, though, it was not for free, as Jenkins on the top side did take 2 turrets with the help of a Rift Herald. And we will see if CLG decides to group up and fight for this dragon. They are very far ahead in gold. Objective bounties are up for 100 Thieves. They have Baron. And despite a nice fight on the beach, 100 Thieves cannot contest this dragon.
And I think it goes to... It's important to note that while Jenkins was having a difficult lane matchup into Tenacity early on into the game, that triple kill in the second prior fight, plus the 2 turrets going down in his favor with the Rift Herald charge, he's still behind Tenacity in terms of overall gold, but he is at least measurable enough that he is a threat in these team fights. And that's something that Gnar will always be able to be used for, even if it's a terrible lane matchup.
And, I mean, it's something that's been really good for Jenkins. So I know we've really spent so much time hyping up Tenacity, deservedly so. Jenkins has been having a good split, though. He has 16 solo kills this split. He is 3rd in gold differential with 15 out of all of our top laners. And he is team fighting consistently. His Gnar, his GP, both very scary champions that teams have to worry about in draft. And he's used them to really be a steady force in the top lane, but also carry some of the team fights for CLG. Again, our 4th place team in the standings, and this game would be big for them because we were asking for CLG to give more of a challenge to our top 3 teams to try and really push the limits and prove they deserve to be in that conversation. They're doing that this game.
100 Thieves Academy, we're hitting into the 25-minute mark. CLG Academy, the fact that they can play for a soul win condition keeps them head and shoulders above over 100 Thieves Academy in terms of overall pressure on the map. 100 Thieves will be forced to contest them at the Dragon whether they want to or not.
Oh, man. We're going to have to see when 100 Thieves decides to pick their spot, because now, as you mentioned, Rafa, any big mistakes that are made, that could be Soul going over to CLG, and Infernal Soul is not the worst thing in the world to face down, but still, CLG has a lot of ways to apply that. You think of Zeri, you think of Azir. Not something that 100 Thieves wants to deal with.
Like, even the Lilia, I mean, this is a... It's not the most high damage build from Lilia's, but, you know, Liandry's, Zhonya's gives a decent amount of AP on both of them. And the slow burn over time, plus the Infernal Soul, it means that you cannot tango with the Lilia for far too long.
Oh, and at the moment, neither team deciding to tango on the map is pretty quiet leading up to this next dragon. Of course, Baron does spawn here in 90 seconds, so we might see a little bit more openness to make plays. Is Breezy getting Fortacious?
That's one way to put it. Yeah, Bussio was ready to try to set up something for Tenacity, but he battle dances out back to his partner before he is able to find a response. As you've heard it out, 2.5 minutes. There's still some time for both teams to set up and play around the objectives. Baron is not spawned yet either, so there's not really any major objectives that both of these teams can go for. So we're just chilling because it is the calm before the storm. Could be one of our last major fights before the end of this game.
I'm looking to see if Beam Effects can pump out damage, as I think that Sivir later stages with the rework, the Ricochet, it doesn't do as much damage like each bounce, but it has the ability to bounce and hit people twice. And curiously enough, actually, look at Meech's inventory here, as it is a stopwatch plus a Warden's Mail leading up to this next fight. So knowing that he's up against double crit and another physical damage dealer, actually opting for that, I do like the build from Meech. I am a big fan of that.
Yeah.
As he knows he has to stay safe. If he doesn't get engaged upon, if he survives the initial onslaught from 100 Thieves, he's the one that has been turning fights around.
Jenkins and Kevy and Triple all do a decent amount of damage, but Meech is the ultimate janner in these late game team fights. If he stays alive, it is GG 400 Thieves, because there's only so much engage tools that they can call upon before they run out, whereas Meech has all the kiting ability in the world, and not even with the Sivir on the hunt, movement speed is going to be enough for 100 Thieves to keep Meech locked down here.
Pretty tense at the moment. Triple has popped that passive to make sure that CLG can maintain priority over the bot side. And credit to CLG, they have really ran with that, as this bot side jungle is empty. 400 Thieves. Tenacity can't even push past the midpoint of that side wave. Given all the pressure that CLG are throwing at 100 Thieves in this jungle. 100 Thieves, they always have the option to try and retreat towards the Baron, but CLG, props to them, they have a control ward and that crab taken on the top side. So any emergency Baron start would be spotted by the side of CLG and 100 Thieves, trying to brute force mid to get any sort of control over the spot side river.
But they can't even flip Baron, because then that would forfeit the Infernal Soul over to CLG Academy. 100 Thieves fighting for mid prio, as you already called.
Oh, they're going to start it.
Bucio could be the first one into the river.
Meech is in here.
Meech is separated. They could go now. Already a knock-up onto Breezy, but that's not the one they want to use the last breath for. They want to look for the marksman.
Oh, Jenkins!
Oh, it's a huge Mega Gnar ultimate from Jenkins! And Meech just comes over the wall, ready to assassinate the final living members of 100 Thieves. An absolute turnaround, hugely made by the top laner of CLG.
And it was a 4v5, but Jenkins, he's the one that takes the onus into his own hands, utilizes that Mega Gnar, throws everyone into the wall, and that's going to be it for the side of 100 Thieves. CLG, from there, they chased a lot. They are kind of throwing away the chance to get a free Baron, snowball things from there. But God, you got to believe with Infernal Soul, that spells doom for 100 Thieves in that fight. They just weren't able to pick who they wanted to engage upon, and the patience from CLG to wait out 100 Thieves and just wait for them to collapse into this pixel brush where Jenkins hits everyone with the Mega Gnar. 100 Thieves has to go. They have to pick a target. Bucio doesn't have the Q. It's a very split fight from CLG. Meech is over the wall, and Jenkins just hits the 4 priority targets with the Mega Gnar. Will gets one shot from Meech over the wall as well. And what a fight from CLG.
We even premeditated that fight, saying that 100 Thieves, hey, Meech isn't here. This is the time to go in as 5. But,
they had to get the Baron.
But man, Meech over the wall comes in once all the initial engagements have been blown. 100 Thieves almost completely forgetting about the marksman, and you know, as you called before, he had this Randuin's ready for a reason, because he needed to protect himself in these fights against the double crit damage. Not even necessary, because most of the members of 100 Thieves have been blown up by the time he got in. So now for CLG, I mean, it's pretty much one last team fight before they can just walk in, take out the entire base, an 8,000 gold lead in their stead as well. 100 Thieves would have to pull off a miracle. Maybe it starts now. A pick onto Jenkins. Double knockup prevents him from getting the hop out. That's a 5-on-4 advantage, but we've seen what happens even in 5-on-4 situations. They've already burned their major engage tools. Bucio trying to get the knockup onto Breezy, but he dashes away with the battle dance. And the rest of 100 Thieves now have to watch the wave. They have to play off of the push from CLG.
Yeah, Triple is playing up that side wall there. The secondary path towards bot that we would really look out for him to make a big play. Not going to be the case, though. We'll just be the siege. A nice pick from 100 Thieves. That really seems to be their only option at the moment. Play through tenacity, try and get picks, utilizing that Yasuo with all the knockups that 100 Thieves have drafted in their comp. Good find from them. As, again, very, very far behind now at this point of the game. But
and
there is a chance.
It's only 3 members. If 100 Thieves know that it's only 3, they can go for this engage.
Again. Yeah. I think Azir turret's enough to dissuade him, though. As, yeah, that passive, again, I don't hate the look from 100 Thieves. You have someone down, you have to try and snowball it forward, but Jenkins having TP back up, and that passive from Azir.
Oh, Jimmy walks too close to a ward. Does not realize that CLG had a moment to lay down the trap. And without the Encore available, it's a major source of wave clear down. It's all up to BMFX, but these Baron-empowered minions make it super difficult for 100 Thieves to clear.
Yeah, not as good of a mage performance here from Jimmy in this game compared to the last. He's gotten caught a couple times on that Seraphine. That's big, too. That pick just means the CLG gets 2 free inhibitors now.
Will they push for more here? They still have Baron buff for a few more seconds. Probably not enough to go for the game end, but they're going to try. They're going to try to get as much damage as they can while the cannons are empowered. They can just get free damage onto the Nexus turrets. It is burning away. It's up to 100 Thieves to see if they can
Mega
force a re-engage here. Jenkins is now Mega, as you called it out, so it's difficult for them to engage onto the back line. One Nexus turret already is gone. Jimin has respawned, and CLG, I think they know that their time is up. Time to take their leave. Encore fishes, does not connect.
I think when you have Flash Cyclone up from Will, you wait for that to use the Encore after. But again, it was optimistic. They knew CLG were exiting. It's not like that cooldown's going to hurt him too bad. As CLG, they should be basing here. That is what 100 Thieves is assuming.
Oh, man.
But CLG might be up to something. As Tenacity.
Jenkins jumps over the wall. Oh, God! All the jump scare moment for Tenacity. He's going to try to outplay this one as long as he can. Flashing forward, dashing to the minion. Still has a GA to play off of. It finally gets popped out. And there's no one from 100 Thieves that can save him. Oh, good God. Tenacity. Even Jenkins throwing out the BM emote. Yeah, you got your counter pick, but who's winning the game now? Because it's CLG Academy. Run to the Nexus turrets. The last one. A good stun and a sleep from Kevy. Slows 100 Thieves down. Will looking for maybe one last Cyclone play to save this game. 400 Thieves Academy onto the back line. But can you lock down Meech? Because Meech is the one that runs the show. And it's CLG Academy that even up the odds, making an argument for themselves to be considered above top 4 as they take down the number 2 team in Academy.
And this game for CLG, I mean, some of the engages that 100 Thieves threw at them early were good, but CLG's punches back were just better. And again, no one touched Meech, and also a lot of credit. Some of the re-engages from Breezy were fantastic. We said that, you know, Breezy has been someone that has acted primarily as engage for this team. On the Enchantress last game, weren't able to find the win, but returning to that engage, the Recon that's been so good for Breezy this split, gives CLG that second game and gives them a game off of a top 3 team as CLG continue to make a case for themselves to emerge in the conversation for who our top dogs are in Academy.
Yeah, I mean, not only good stuff for both Breezy and Jenkins, I think Triple also had a solid game on the Azir. I know there's a couple weeks where Triple was kind of lacking in his play, and it seemed like the mid laners that he was facing up against were outperforming him, outpacing him. This time around, we even saw moments of it in the Yone game before things got out of hand for CLG, but in this Azir game, you know, just solid gameplay, making sure that the Emperor's Divides where I will either pick off members like Jimian or just create space for Meech, as he was the one that really just led the charge in being able to clean up the rest of 100 Thieves. But that concludes the series. When we come back, it is going to be, I believe we're getting Sierra back. Hopefully, you know, the weather still stays calm over on the north side of NA.
Get the bald guy out.
And we'll get Sierra on the interview desk with CLG Academy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Verizon post-game interview. I'm sitting down here with Breezy. First off, hello. How are you doing? I know you're getting harassed a little bit over there.
Yeah, I'm being ganked by someone right now, but doing pretty well. Not a bad series.
I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear. So, I don't want to focus too much on this series, but I just want to focus on the overall grand scheme of things. I know Proving Grounds is coming up sooner than some might think, and you tweeted out that after a great Super Week last week that you're powering up before PG. How are you feeling about PG in general, and what are you doing behind the scenes to help get prepared for that?
Well, like after last split, we finished first place regular season and then didn't have like the greatest proving grounds. So like I guess we're using our stage games and our scrims as kind of like extra practice. Like we're trying stuff out on stage, trying to like get our identity and to be ready for proving grounds because like ultimately that's what matters. And yeah, I feel like we're coming together as a team with new jungler and pretty new AD carry and even new top laner as well. So it's coming together pretty well.
I'm glad to hear. So what do you think it was that big difference where you're being up first in regular season, then not doing the greatest in proving grounds? What's that difference in competition like?
I think it's just maybe we were like too confident, I guess, going into last proving grounds. I think we just kind of like lost to ourselves. But kind of showed us where we are, and we expanded our playstyle a lot. So I think we're pretty confident now going into this proving grounds.
Okay, and then for yourself, as well as a lot of the players in Academy, actually, coming up through this amateur scene. So, is there anything in particular for amateur players out there that you'd like to pass on for any sort of advice? Because see someone in the background. Any sort of advice or something that you wish you knew at that time?
I guess the best thing is just if you have the time, like put in your full effort and play a lot of games. Also build a brand for yourself. It's really big. Like just whether it's like tweeting on social media or like trying to like get to know like a lot of the already pros and stuff like that. Playing champs queue is a good one too. Getting high rank in champs queue and just like using all the resources that you have to try and become like if you want to become a pro, you just got to do all of the things you can.
I love
Yeah.
what you said about building a brand for yourself because I find
Yeah.
that, especially going through Academy players, there's some that have built up an amazing brand. I won't say who, and then some that I don't really know anything about because their brand leaves so much to be desired. So, for
Right.
yourself, what is it like that you want to be building for yourself as a brand or an impression that you want to be leaving on other people?
I guess I mean, just like for like the fans, I guess, and even like other teams, like just like have a personality, you know, like team. It's not all just about gameplay. Like team environment matters a lot, and yeah, just being like a good person has a lot to do with being on a team. Yeah.
Okay. And then last thing before I let you go, playing up against TSMA tomorrow, and this is a team that, despite not doing necessarily the greatest, has had a couple of different looks with the players that are coming onto their team now. And I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit about you think going up against them tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not really worried at all about them. I think we're levels above them. Sorry, I'm being ganked right now, but yeah, I'm not really worried. It should be a fun game, but they're a little bit more experienced like players now with their roster changes, but ready to take them out.
And whoever's harassing you, you have to tell them if they're going to be bugging
Yeah.
you all in your view that they got to be showing themselves on camera so everyone else can start
Yeah, I agree.
harassing them.
Come show yourself,
Here,
Dokla.
come here.
Now that you're LCS, you think you're so cool or what? Come on. There he is.
There we go. There we go. Well, I'll let you go. Maybe try and get a little bit of revenge. Thank you so much for talking with me,
Thank
Breezy.
you. It was nice talking. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Oh man.